Many years ago, Tom and I owned an old Victorian style house. One of the things that I loved about it was the old wallpaper. It was softly colored with delicate line art floral images throughout. So today I'm going to show you how to create a background paper with that Victorian distressed feel. Let me show you the tools and products you're going to need to do this background technique. First, you're going to need some colored cardstock, and the one that I'm using here is the Gina Designs Pure Luxury Lemon Drop. Then I'm going to use some distress inks, and I have the frayed burlap, the walnut stain, and tumbled glass. And then you're going to need a line art stamp, and I'm going to use this very delicate floral image from the new Scent with Love Stamp TV kit. To begin, I'm going to start with the frayed burlap ink and my floral image stamp to create a background pattern across this piece of lemon drop cardstock. And I'm going to just randomly stamp this image throughout the back. I actually like to turn the stamp over and ink it up this way, especially on one of these larger stamps, to make sure I have the entire stamp covered with ink. You kind of want to turn your stamp as you go when you create these types of backgrounds. This way they're not all going in the same direction and it really does look more fluid. Put a little bit there. And one right there. Okay, so now I have my image on the lemon drop cardstock. Now, taking this same ink directly onto the piece of lemon drop, I'm going to just kind of swirl that ink around and create a little bit of a texture. You see that texture starting to come through? Now that sort of mutes the line art image, but we're going to go back over that again with a darker color in just a little bit. For my next color, I'm going to bring in some of the tumbled glass. Now this is not a color you might think would go well with the lemon drop cardstock, but it really does do some amazing things when you start to rub it onto the cardstock. So here we go, adding a little bit of that on top, and you can start to see kind of adds almost a little bit of shabbiness to it, makes it look a little bit more antique, and gives it a little bit more interest. Isn't that beautiful how those inks just blend so nicely together? Now for my final step, I'm going to take this stamp and some of the walnut stain ink and go back over it again to really make the floral images pop out a bit. And you can see now as the images are coming together, it really does create even a more muted look from what's underneath coming through with what's on top. Okay, and maybe just one more little spot here and up in this area here. There we go. And to finish off this background, I had used the tonic ticket tag punch to create corners on my finished project, which I'm going to show you in a minute. But let me show you how that works. Here you have this little slot in here, and you just stick the corner into that area where both sides of the cardstock line up perfectly with the little edges there on the corner punch, and then just punch, and that creates that perfect little notched edge. It's quick and easy to use a punch for something like this, and then you can decide how big or small your piece of cardstock is going to be. Then I'm bagging this onto some of the chocolate brown Gina K Designs Pure Luxury cardstock. And then I'm going to show you another neat little trick that you may not have known that you can do with our ribbons. Okay, so there's my finished background. Now, because that background is so pretty by itself, it really doesn't need much. So I'm just going to create a greeting piece and use that as the focal image of my card and just let this background speak for itself. But to add a little bit of accent, I'm going to add some ribbon to this card. And I want to show you something fun that you can do with our ribbons. Okay, so this is the chocolate brown 5/8 of an inch double stitched ribbon. And I'm going to tape right onto the ribbon here so I get it nice and flat. And this is going to go down here toward the bottom. Make sure it's nice and straight. There we go. And then add some on the back there. Okay. Now we have other ribbons in our collection that are 3/8 of an inch. And what you may not know is that our 3/8 of an inch ribbon fits perfectly inside those stitched lines of our double stitched ribbon that's 5/8 of an inch. So that's a way to mix colors together and still have that little stitched accent. So I'm going to once again add some tape here onto the ribbon and position that ribbon right in between the stitch lines. There we go. And you can see that just changes the whole look of the ribbon. Now let me show you my finished project. Here's my finished card. I just chose one of the greetings from the Sent with Love Stamp TV kit, You Make My Heart Bloom, which is a great greeting for any time you want to send a card to somebody. And I just did kind of the same thing. I stamped the line art image very, very lightly and stamped the greeting in black and cut it out using some Nestabilities dies. And I did a little accent highlighting with a sponge. Try using different colors to create softer or richer looks, and try embossing the fine detailed lines of your stamps to add an extra touch of elegance.